planning to buy a 1967 Maryland by Warhol. It's in the some Miami art gallery right now, and that's our first purchase, and it will be our milestone, and I think that will put us on top to, sort of show the art world that, hey, we're we're actually doing things to disrupt the art world. And so we're hoping that we'll be the first organization to sort of bring, real world art into the metaverse and have, sort of a gallery like the MoMA of the metaverse.
Welcome to Cool Hand Crypto, where cinema, culture, and crypto collide. Today I'm thrilled to be speaking with someone about a really exciting project that's been echoing around my digital bubble. If NFTs were the buzzword of 2021, DAOs will take its place for 2022. And today we'll be discussing a DAO that's not just stuck in the vast universe of digital space, but wants to reach out into the real world. The very fact that we're having this conversation is a testament to this project, as so many DAOs are hyped up and shrouded in mystery, and I believe the way to earn trust is through conversations like this. I'd like to welcome founder and director of ratDAO, Shan Xu. Shan, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with a little bit about your background. How did you get involved with this sort of, with DAOs and NFTs?
Yeah, so actually, I don't have a big background in NFTs or DAOs, not even an art background, actually. I actually have a background in marketing. So originally, back in 2017, I got into crypto, thought it was really revolutionary. And so I didn't know too much about dApps and how to build on the Ethereum blockchain, but and that's when DAOs weren't even like a thing back then. But yeah, so ever since then, I've just been sort of just kind of just looking at what's going on in the space, and then yeah, and then 2021, that's when NFT started to boom. And at that time, there wasn't a big like demand for utility in NFTs, but sort of it's evolved very quickly into NFTs with utilities. And yeah, so that's why I just took a huge interest in that and, decided to build ratDAO.
Awesome. Yeah. So for people who are listening who are new to this world, what is a DAO?
So a DAO is it's short for decentralized autonomous organization. So it sounds fancy, but it's really just an organization that's decentralized. Sort of you whenever you think of an organization like Facebook or Tesla, mainly whatever goes on is directed by the head or the CEO, and so that's sort of like a centralized organization. But for our organization, we decentralized it and gave the voting power, the decision making to the holders of our NFT.
I don't know how much you can unpack that, but some questions I've got about DAOs were, if it's decentralized, then who's running it? Who's the person making decisions? How are those decisions made? And how is it steered in the proper direction? So can you talk a little bit about how you're doing that with ratDAO?
Yeah, so a lot of DAOs, it's sort of up in the air on how DAOs operate when it comes to making proposals and voting on them. But for ratDAO, it's not, what we're going to do is actually have our voting power in the hands of our holders. And so our holders won't be able to make any decision for the DAO. We need some sort of um, red tape around it where, we're not burning artwork or anything like that. But essentially, our holders will be the decision makers in whether, okay, we need to, let's buy a Banksy or let's buy a Picasso next. And so that's basically what we're trying to encapsulate in our DAO.
As far as that red tape, how is that already created, or is that something you're still developing now?
Well, yeah, so that's something that we're still developing now. We've sort of have like sort of like a general idea of how we're gonna do it. Most of it's gonna go on through Discord and also snapshot.org. Snapshot.org is a really good platform to host your DAO and have everything become like on chain.
Tell me a little more about Snapshot.
Yeah, so Snapshot is it's a platform where you sort of verify yourself by holding an ERC20 token or a ERC 721 token, where you can make decisions based on whatever however much you have in your wallet. And so yeah, so all of this is done on chain, so it's all immutable. And so if a decision is made, you can see it on the blockchain. It's just just sort of hosts the transactions and hosts the votings.
How do you prevent one person from just with a big budget coming in and buying up all of a DAO, of ratDAO or of another DAO, and be the one decision maker?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. So generally how we're handling this launch is we're trying to give it sort of spread it out to as many holders as we can, as many wallets as we can. So, you don't have any big whales sort of making all the decisions or any big whales dumping on anybody else. But it is possible. It definitely is possible, but I think at that point, like that's sort of later on in the stage of how are we gonna sort of organize it to where this isn't as possible as it could be.
I think you've done an excellent job from what I've seen with things like the coordinates of where things are. Well, why don't you talk a little bit about it's sort of a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a really cool idea that I came up with, just to sort of engage our community and sort of not, I mean, it's not just only for New Yorkers. If you're engaged in the in our community, you still have a chance to mint one for free. Um, but it's sort of like a homage to like the art community and how I'd see New York as like sort of the art capital. You have MoMA, you have the Met over there, and so it's just a really fun thing that we decided to do to sort of just get people engaged and reward them for it. So the NYC event is going down on the 12th, on December 12th, and it will end December 16th. So if you're in NYC, you can mint one for free and just scan the QR codes that are on that are in the locations listed on our website.
I want to dig into your marketing background a little bit because I think you've done a phenomenal job. I mean, I feel like I said in the intro, my bubble is buzzing with ratDAO, and not and other projects as well. But yours seems to have the most activity, and I don't know. I don't think it's because it has the most numbers. So how did you do that?
Yeah, actually, this was all done through, well, for my background, I mostly did like paid advertisements like Google ads, Facebook ads. I mainly just ran those and sort of had a website for my real estate marketing background. So I didn't have a huge like sort of understanding of how to engage a community or do any of that, but I sort of just went by it like step by step and just sort of just played it by ear basically because I I guess I've always wanted to build something, build a community, and so in order to engage it, I felt like, you got to keep everybody on their toes, make sure, people are rewarded for their engagement. And so we sort of structured it like that to where, you're rewarded for your engagement, you're rewarded for helping others out. And so that's sort of how we sort of structured our community to where, it's lively, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Is when you say community, are you mainly referring to Discord or something broader?
Just Discord. We do have, a Twitter, but most of the Twitter is just sort of directly funnels into Discord. That's where you'll sort of see me a lot. I'm just hanging around. We have like trivia. We have guess the drawing. So I'm always hanging around in the Discord just to sort of engage in the community and get everybody talking and sort of just incentivize people to interact.
Yeah, I've had Discord now for maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 months,
Hmm.
and I feel like I still don't know how to use it. I
Yeah.
am jumping around from room to room, and I see your alerts and your all the things that you're doing, and I try to get involved. I also have
Right.
2 little kids, so it's my time
Yeah.
is spread thin. But it's very uh it's complicated. So maybe first explain what is Discord for people who don't know what that is.
I'm probably not the best person to answer this, but Discord is basically just a platform where communities can get together and sort of chat. You have originally it was made for gamers, I think, but it sort of evolved into crypto, NFT, and sort of other things. But yeah, basically Discord's just a community platform where you can sort of get like on-demand interaction, I guess, rather than like Twitter or Facebook where you're just making a post and
Can you talk a little bit about sort of your formula for success with Discord? Because I don't know if you have timed, times of the day that you go in and you do giveaways and chats, but it seems to be expertly formulated.
right. So I'm not gonna give away too much, but it
Sure.
is it is pretty calculated. I try to calculate all of the announcements and sort of time it to where, we're at the peak time of interactions and also collaborations. We try to make sure the people that we're collaborating with are have good solid teams and solid artwork that our community appreciates. And so, but as for our Discord, I just basically just try to make sure it's sort of like a balance. You got to make sure that people aren't fatigued when it comes to too many announcements.
What I want to do actually is I want to read your website, the ratDAO website, because I think it's a great pitch to
Yeah,
people
for
who
sure.
don't really know what ratDAO is, and then I'd like to talk about how people can get involved. So you wrote, ever wanted to own a Picasso? For too long, snobby art connoisseurs have kept the art world out of reach from the masses. We're going to flip that script. We'll be the first community to harness the power of the DAO to digitize physical blue chip art on a large scale.
Yeah, so just basically we felt that the art world is sort of out of reach. A lot of people just has a really bad connotation about the art world and how the ultra rich are sort of just laundering money or using that sort of medium to just do some sketchy stuff. And not only that, it's just sort of, you normally hear of just millionaires, billionaires buying expensive art. And so people still have, us regular people, we still have an appreciation for art. We just don't, it's just not in our reach. And so that's our sort of um, manifesto is to just make it accessible to our community, our holders. And
So, as far as the owning the blue chip art, where does this, you don't have to give an address, but
yeah,
where in theory would this art live? Would you be buying, let's say, a Picasso in theory, and then that Picasso would live where and it would be digitized, I guess?
yeah. So where it would live is we would host it in a gallery that ratDAO would lease out in NYC. And so we're going to make it accessible to all of our holders or, people that hold our cheese tokens. And yeah, so it's going to live there for all of our community to see. And we're probably going to make it into like a sort of like a lounge where people can just hang out. ratDAO holders can just hang out and just chill and also appreciate art. And also, as for the tokenized version or the NFT version of it, it's going to live on. So we've been in talks with 3D modelers for Decentraland. A lot of people have suggested Decentraland as the second home for the the digitized art. So yeah, so that's where it's going to live, both you know in the metaverse and also in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me more about cheese tokens.
Yeah, so cheese tokens is something interesting that we developed to sort of incentivize and reward our holders. And so this art that we're gonna take is we're going to basically make a one-to-one NFT version of that and then lock it up in a vault, all on chain. So there's no way that there's no way anybody can steal it or whatever. So it's all gonna be locked up on chain in a vault. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna fractionalize the vault, turn it into little pieces, and distribute those little pieces, which are called cheese tokens, to our holders. We don't have the tokenomics out yet, But after launch, we're going to, that's our next step is to work on the tokenomics and how to actually um, put up liquidity for it, make sure that it's the real deal, that they're actually getting value for holding their NFTs.
Tell me if I'm getting this right. They'd own sort of a little piece of a Picasso
Right, exactly.
via a cheese token, and then these
Exactly.
cheese tokens could be, I guess, traded and sold, or how do you use cheese tokens?
Yeah, so cheese tokens are basically an ERC20 token, just like Shiba Inu token or something like that. It's a decentralized token that you can trade for USDT on Uniswap, SushiSwap. But beside from that, we're planning to sort of use that token to buy merchandise that we're going to eventually create, or maybe tickets for the NYC gallery. We don't know exactly what we're gonna use the tokens for, but yeah, that's in the works.
Is the token directly related to the digitized artwork, or is it also related to the physical artwork?
So the physical artwork, yeah, this is a very interesting sort of concept. But what we're going to do is, since we have the original piece of artwork, we're going to digitize it just so it's on the blockchain. And so essentially, what we're hoping is that the cheese token will have a direct correlation to the value of the physical artwork, right? So if we're selling, we're never going to sell our artwork, but if we're selling our artwork to somebody else, we're also going to be transferring that NFT version of that artwork to the next holder or the next buyer.
So in theory, it would be sort of a one-to-one relation, and
Exactly.
people with cheese tokens in their wallet would earn more, or the value of their tokens, or they would earn more tokens
Right.
from that sale if you were to
Right.
sell it.
Yeah. So we're hoping that sort of market efficiency will basically drive the cheese token's value. Um, and that's what we're hoping. It's sort of like a huge experiment on our end, honestly, but that's essentially what we're planning to do.
Maybe it's a good time to talk about your team, or the fact that you've even built a team.
Yeah, it's not as easy as people think to build a really solid team. So my partner Bop is so we're actually college friends. So we met in college, and yeah, so we were the original ones that sort of decided to, hey, let's create an NFT project. And so we need artists, and so I just reached out to people all over Facebook. We interviewed so many artists with, we had to make sure that they had our right mindset and our right ambition. And as for the developer, we had to make sure, of course, same thing goes, that they have the right ambition and also they have the right skills to pull something off like this. He's Philip. He's a great guy. He's been, I think he was a part of Paladin Pandas or something like that. But yeah, he's a great programmer, and he's also really skilled in DeFi. So our team is pretty solid.
Tell me about your decision to be transparent as far as who you are, who your team is, as opposed to some of these other big projects that I've seen that look
Right.
really interesting, but you don't know anything about the people behind them.
Our decision to go to become doxxed was ultimately to build trust with the community, and also, if we're going to be handling millions of dollars in artwork, I personally wouldn't trust an undoxed team. And so that's sort of you know out of our compassion, that we realize that, hey, we need to be docs, we need to be transparent with whatever's going on, so that way people trust us and are willing to move forward with the project.
Are you yourself a member of other DAOs?
I am not active. I'm not an active member of other DAOs. I just sort of just peek in, Bankless DAO, Olympus DAO, and all them. And I was also just sort of observing what Constitution DAO was doing. So I'm not an active member of other DAOs, but yeah, just sort of just sort of observing what they're doing.
In your Discord, you do a lot of collaborations.
Right.
What is that process like? How do you determine if someone is worth collaborating with?
Yeah, so we basically just check to see how their community is, if they're active, um, if their artwork looks good, and if it's something that our community would really like. And so that's basically our criteria to choose these collaborations to make sure that, we're not collaborating with any sketchy projects or anything like that. We sort of need to have a higher standard in what we're looking for. And actually, we're probably going to stop or taper down on our collaborations, just so we can sort of, be in front of everybody without like any, I don't know. I just don't want to be in the shadows of any other projects or anything like that. But our big collaboration was with Nowdles actually, and they were a huge collaboration that we sort of worked with, and their team is awesome. And yeah, so we have a lot of Nowdles in our community.
So this collaboration you're doing with Nowdles, for people who don't know what a Nowdle is or what it is, tell me more about that.
Yeah, so Nowdles is another NFT project that was sort of a derivative of Nouns and also Doodles, I think. And so they had a really cool team that we decided to reach out to, and they surprisingly got back to us and were like, "Hey, I really like what you guys are doing. If you guys can give us a few whitelist spots, we'll put you on our Nowdles Grail." And so Nowdles Grail is sort of like a branch or another side thing that they're doing to sort of bring up and coming projects and sort of get them on get more exposure for them.
What is a whitelist?
Yeah, so whitelists are sort of a way to prevent people from paying crazy gas fees during a public mint. And so you have access to a exclusive presale where you have a certain time where you can time the gas so you're not paying crazy gas.
How do you time the gas?
It's gas is based on just network congestion, right? And so if you got a lot of people trying to make a transaction, um, gas would be crazy. It's sort of like surge pricing. And so, in order to time the gas, you have sort of like a time frame where you can mint, so you're not competing with others in a gas war, basically. Just so the there won't be as much congestion on the network. And
Is there a resource to see that congestion? How do you know when to pinpoint a good time?
yeah, so we actually have a bot on our channel where you can check the price of gas. And yeah, so basically you can just time it whenever gas is low. Just use our bot, and then you'll be able to sort of mint when it's low.
How do people get involved with this who aren't on Discord, aren't necessarily on Twitter, but love the concept?
That's a good question. Well, right now most of our community is based around Discord, but that is something that we are keeping in mind for our future developments, just so we make it as accessible as we can, right? Our concept was pretty cool because we're sort of branching or bridging the real world art sphere with the NFT sphere. And so we're getting a lot of people that are first time NFT buyers or people that just hear about us, and they're like, hey, this is an actual, real world use for an NFT. And so that's sort of our way of reaching out to others, reaching out to outsiders, and sort of bringing them into the NFT sphere without having them, without the risk of just buying a JPEG and then hope that, it goes up, right? So we're actually providing that sort of utility for them.
What do you think your first purchase will be?
Yeah, so we're actually planning to. We have this on our list, but we're planning to buy a 1967 Maryland by Warhol. It's in the Miami art gallery right now, and that's our first purchase, and it will be our milestone, and I think that will put us on top to sort of show the art world that, hey, we're we're actually doing things to disrupt the art world.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I think if ratDAO puts that in their what do you call it, in your vault or in your?
Yeah, in our vault. Yeah, that will be sort of like our gateway to legitimizing our project.
Give me kind of a where you want to be in let's say 2 years with this project. What does that look like?
So the NFT space moves really fast. Crypto space moves really fast. 2 years is like 10 years, in my opinion, right? So hopefully by that time we'll have our metaverse gallery set up, our in real gallery set up. And so we're hoping, or we're aiming to be the first organization to hold, real like iconic art in our metaverse gallery. And so I saw a really interesting thing. I think it was on Joe Rogan or something like that, but it was some guy talking about why Beeple's art was so much, why it sold for so much. And so he was, yeah, I guess the person that Joe Rogan was interviewing was saying that it's because the person that bought that Beeple is sort of planning for the future, the metaverse, and that's sort of like the Mona Lisa or the beginning of metaverse art, right? And so we're hoping in 2 years down the line that we'll be the first organization to sort of bring real world art into the metaverse and have sort of a gallery like the MoMA of the metaverse, right? So that's
Yeah. So
our plans.
Beeple sold. I just looked it up. Beeple sold for 60 an NFT, one NFT for
Right.
$69 million.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, this person that buying it, I think he's a billionaire in Singapore or something like that. I'm not totally sure, but I know that their main drive is to sort of put that into the metaverse as sort of, okay, I own this Beeple. This is the Mona Lisa of the metaverse. And so that's our push. Like that's our what we're aiming for.
Anything else people should know about ratDAO that we haven't discussed? Is there anything that you feel people are confused about or want to know more about that they're not getting?
Well, I guess the main thing would just to be just check out our DAO information on Discord. It explains a lot. A lot of people have, questions about, oh, hey, how are we gonna benefit from holding like how are we gonna benefit from holding a Picasso or something like that. But yeah, so just check out our DAO information. It'll explain everything, and it'll explain how it benefits everybody, and also this is a way to disrupt the art industry. And yeah, we're revolutionizing the art industry.
Well, for more info on ratDAO, head to ratDAO.art, as well as their Twitter, which we'll link in the episode description. Shan, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.